The first trade of the offseason has happened between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey is going to the Bulls and Caruso is going to the Thunder. We also got the Lakers hiring their new head coach finally after firing their whole coaching staff, and also Detroit firing their head coach. So let's talk about it. OKC gets one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, adding on top of what they already have, which is a very good defense with guys like Shea, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Cason Wallace, and Chet. All good defenders, and they're adding another guy with Alex Caruso, who's coming off of back-to-back seasons making all defensive teams, and also a former champion. So you get that championship mentor in the locker room. Alex Caruso is 30 years old at this point of his career, so he's definitely going to raise that age average of this team, but still an incredible move for OKC. No matter what age he is, he's still very, very good, and also a very impactful player, and he just seems like he's a winning player. Even though they weren't doing a lot of winning in Chicago, he does a lot of winning things and small things that champions need. And obviously OKC wants to be a champion. They're still very young, but they also still are looking to win that championship in Shea's prime, and everyone else is growing into their primes a little bit. Even though everyone's still very young, everyone's still finding their way in the league, but Shea is still in his prime or going into his prime, so they want a championship as soon as possible. And Caruso's the perfect guy to put on a championship contending team. He's a good defender. Last year he shot about 40% from three, so you're getting a good shooter. I think Caruso's a better off-ball player than Josh Giddey was. And obviously Caruso has much experience playing off the ball, playing with guys like LeBron, DeRozan, and Levine, and even Anthony Davis. So he definitely has experience, so it should be no problem playing alongside Shea, who's obviously going to have the ball a ton. Caruso should be just fine playing with him. Now, Caruso isn't just the perfect player. He doesn't have Giddey's high IQ playmaking, but Caruso does have incredible defense on the perimeter, something that Giddey did not have, which is one of the main reasons, if not the reason, why Giddey was traded this offseason, because he was just always targeted defensively and also offensively. Everyone just let him shoot. They did not care if he was wide open. They were going to help off of him, and that just led to an easy way to scheme around their offense if Giddey was ever on the floor. With Caruso, if you let him shoot, he's going to knock it down a decent amount of times, and also you're not going to want to switch Caruso onto you, so it's really killing two birds with one stone. Now, Caruso is up for a 4-year, $80 million contract after this upcoming season. This upcoming season will be his last year on the deal, and his current salary is about $9 million, so his next contract is almost doubling his salary, which OKC definitely understands. They're probably very much so ready to pay him that money, but it is still a decent amount of money compared to what his salary is right now. So maybe later on that affects something, but as of right now, I guarantee OKC is definitely ready to pay him that money. I apologize if y'all hear rain outside. This rain just came pouring out of nowhere. But for Chicago, I really don't get why they settled for this type of trade for Alex Caruso, a guy who is all defensive team. I understand he's on the last year of his deal, but they couldn't get any draft picks at least. And of course they got Josh Giddey, who's only 21 years old. The year before this year, his sophomore season, he looked pretty good. Honestly, he was very promising, and then it kind of seemed like OKC progressed faster than he could keep up. But before that, he looked really good. But the only thing is, he's also on the last year of his deal. Now, he is going into restricted free agency compared to Caruso's unrestricted free agency, but they traded from the team with the most draft capital in the entire league, and they didn't get any of the draft picks, which is crazy to me. And I almost guarantee there were teams in the lottery that were willing to give up one of their better draft picks for Alex Caruso and Chicago's pick, which I think is 10 or 11 or something like that. They probably could have moved up in this draft, or maybe got a pick from next draft or whatever draft for Alex Caruso, but they settled for Josh Giddey, and that's it. And they got Josh Giddey onto their team where they already have Kobe White, who was one of the runner-ups for most improved player last year, who was really, really good, and Ayo Dosunmu, who was very underrated the second half of the season last year. And they have Lonzo Ball coming back next season, who he wants to be available for game 1 of the regular season. So they have 4 guards on the rotation that they've got to deal with. Now obviously 2 starters, 2 backups, it seems simple, but obviously these guys want to start. Lonzo's old enough and he has the reputation to where he deserves a starting spot. Kobe White was most improved last year, but Ayo and Josh Giddey are young and guys that you want to develop. So that becomes a whole situation. Unless they want to trade Lonzo or something, they're stuck with a 4-guard rotation, and they still have Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic to trade if they do go ahead and trade them. I do hope this is a sign for a major rebuild for Chicago. They're trading their vets for younger guys. Hopefully later on with like a DeRozan or Levine trade, they are getting draft capital. As of right now, with us not really knowing the direction of the Chicago Bulls, I don't really like this trade at all for them. Now, to touch on some of the coaching headlines in the league, the Los Angeles Lakers have officially hired JJ Redick as their new head coach on a 4-year deal. I do not know what the salary is going to be looking like, but he is on a 4-year deal. And honestly, I don't really know how I feel about this. We don't really have any sort of sample to look at for JJ Redick's coaching past. I think he's only been coaching his son's team or something like that. So now he's jumping to NBA head coaching for the biggest franchise in the entire league with the biggest player on their team. Honestly, if I were to pick the best situation for JJ Redick, I highly doubt the Lakers are high on that list. The Lakers have all eyes on them right now with LeBron going into his last couple years. Obviously, he's going to want to win a championship. And the Lakers just firing their entire coaching staff. JJ Redick is going to be the head of that snake. And I don't know if JJ Redick in his first year of professional coaching can actually do that. Now, obviously, JJ Redick has the basketball mind. We've all seen it on his podcast with LeBron and his other podcasts, and also the ESPN broadcast. And we all know JJ Redick has the basketball mind for this. But just head coaching wise, we have to coach all the personalities in the locker room. You have to know all the plays and everything. It is a huge burden that he's taking on for the Lakers, where everyone in LA is going to be watching this team. And JJ Redick is going to be having probably the most pressure as a head coach in the entire league. And it's his first year coaching in the NBA. There were rumors that maybe Detroit wanted to hire him, and I would have much preferred that for him to start off, because their expectations are to win more games than the previous year. For the Lakers, their expectations are winning a championship. Obviously, you know which one of those expectations are lower than the other. And that leads me into the next head coaching headline, with the Detroit Pistons firing Monty Williams, which is crazy because they gave him that massive contract, that 6-year deal worth like 70-80 million. And now they have to pay Monty for the next 5 years something around $60 million, which is crazy. Monty Williams can literally sit at home and do nothing, and the Detroit Pistons will have to pay him that much money. Now, I think in the end of May, the Detroit Pistons also fired their GM Troy Weaver. So it looks like the Pistons are fully trying to make a bunch of changes in their front office, not just trading a bunch of players and hoping for the best, which in my personal opinion is definitely a good sign, especially after the tragic last couple years for the Pistons. They're trying to make true change and not just a bunch of trades that are going to give the fan base, fake hope or something. Now, who is the Pistons head coach going to be now? No clue. I have no idea who it's going to be, but I do like the direction they're going in. Obviously, Monty was not the right guy for the job at all, but now they are going to have to pay a lot of money for that mistake. And also them firing their GM, I think they're going in the right direction. So that's all I got for y'all today. If y'all like this video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload. And if you agree, disagree, or you have some things you want to talk about with this trade or the head coaching headlines or whatever, leave it down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.